Okay, hello and welcome. This is the Weight Loss Show with Dr. Julie Wilkening, where I help you access the information that supports your healthy, sustainable weight loss. Today, I've got a very special guest for a topic in end dieting hell. And, the blaming and the shaming of yourself behind, and the difficulty and the yo-yoing behind losing weight or doing those things that you feel you need to do. It just sometimes feels really difficult. It's almost like a hell that you're in. And if you or someone you know has struggled with weight loss in your life, you'll want to listen to this interview and listen to my guest here. So my friend and colleague is here with me. This is Michelle Melendez. And she's got a new book called End Dieting Hell, How to Find Peace with Your Body and Lose Weight, coming out on July 23rd. And you can find it at womenbeingfit.com/end dieting hell book. Okay, so I will follow up this video or be around this video with a link where you can get access to that book. And if you, or I'll follow up with email as well. So if you're on my email list. So we're going to speak to her about some important topics in this book. Michelle has been a fitness trainer and a weight loss specialist since 1996. She shares insights most trainers just don't know. She teaches women how to love their body and get the fitness and health results they want. So Michelle's certifications include International Sports Sciences Association. She's a personal trainer. She has a lot of techniques and simple home gym setup training for you. She's a Pilates coach. She coaches in balance and spin and boot camp. She does several boot camps, and she's really a weight loss specialist too. That's why I have her here. So her mission is to show women the secret to living in a body they love and help them release shame, embarrassment, and guilt about their bodies. She knows that it's a difficult journey when you're on a weight loss journey, and there's a lot that sometimes surrounds that. So she's going to talk to us about that. She really just brings a very unique and positive approach to fitness and weight loss, and I'm excited to talk to her. So today, here is Michelle. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Dr. Julie. I love getting this information out to more people. It's definitely been a journey finding it and discovering what's happening. And so thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm just curious what got you started into this, just the weight loss journey and getting to this book right now.
So when I became a personal trainer in 1996, it actually started later because when I was a weight loss specialist, I became a weight loss specialist in 2009, and I started noticing after a year or so of training women how to release weight that they would yo-yo and they would gain it back again. And so I wanted to really understand why. It's like, why did my clients lose weight? They came to me, they wanted to release the weight, and they did. And then in a year or less, they'd gain it back and sometimes more. And it really was like, what's up with that? There's something happening that I'm not getting in helping my clients. And so I went on a journey and I started studying human behavior, and then that led me to neuroscience, and that led me to emotional addiction. And what I discovered was that the reason why women yo-yo, I say women because I usually work with women, but people yo-yo, is because they're actually emotionally conditioned, and I even say addicted, to the feeling of struggling with their weight, the actual chemical vibrational feeling of struggling with their weight. And this actually, I'll share a little bit about my growing up on how this affected me, because I never struggled with my weight, but I for sure struggled with body image. When I was a teenager, they found out that I had scoliosis. And scoliosis is where your back is curved, and part of my right side of my back sits slightly behind my left. And so as a teenager growing up in puberty, my breasts were uneven. My one side was bigger than the other. And I was mortified and extremely insecure about it. And I remember I would always ask my sister, can you tell? And always trying to make sure that, you know, that anything I wore didn't show what my body was doing. And so what happened was that feeling that I was having, that insecurity feeling, is actually chemicals and a vibration that was in every single cell of my body. And I didn't understand at the time, of course, that when I was constantly feeling insecure and shame about my body and disliking my body, that the more I felt that every single day, the stronger that feeling got, and the more that felt like that's who I was. So I was someone who felt insecure. And so when I learned this information, and I was like, oh my gosh, this totally makes sense. Because even though I became a fitness trainer in 1996, I would still be like, I would go out, I would still have this insecure feeling about my body. And so when I learned this information, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the green light. This is the light bulb. Because women, they struggle with their weight, and they feel like that's who they are. They feel like they're someone who struggles with their weight. And that's, if they feel like that's who they are, then that's what the choices they're going to create for themselves. They're going to sabotage their weight loss efforts. They're going to sabotage any results that they get, because they feel like that the normal way of feeling is that they struggle with their weight and they don't like their body. So that was a huge green light for me when I understood emotional conditioning, and that is actually what completely sabotages the diet and exercise. And exercise and diet are actually outside of the person first. So it's really what's happening on the inside. What do you feel like? And when I got that, it was like a relief for me, because I thought, oh, this is why, you know. So that's why I wrote a book about it.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I love how you talk about just almost like the intelligence of all your cells. Like your cells have this, worry about the difficulty of losing weight, or they're not able to, or this insecurity. And it is almost like that first filter that, your intentions have to get through before you get into what am I going to eat? What am I going to do to lose weight or get fit? So that's revolutionary.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of works like this. It's when you have a feeling, it's called a peptide, and it actually goes down into the body, and it's two things. It's a vibration and it's chemicals. And so the cells, they create what's called a receptor site that connects to the peptide. It's receptor site's a bridge that connects to the peptide and allows the chemicals of that feeling and the vibration to go into the cell. And the more you feel those feelings, the more receptor sites are created on the cell to bring in the chemicals and the vibration of that feeling, that peptide, into the cell. So it gets stronger and stronger. And then what happens is your cells divide every 2 months. And when they divide, the new cells already have the receptor sites for the feelings that you've felt the majority of the time throughout the last 2 months. So this is why within about New Year's resolutions, within 4 to 6 weeks, they kind of go out the door, because the body doesn't feel normal in liking itself, and like the feeling of liking itself, or the feeling of going to the gym and feeling good about going to the gym and excited about the gym. That feeling is not the normal feeling. So if you can understand that you're emotionally addicted to the way you run your life, excuse me. And so what happens is that when that time happens in 4 to 6 weeks, the cells of the body go, this isn't normal, this is normal. And what happens is that this is so crazy. The cells will actually send a signal to your brain to think thoughts like, oh, I've been really good, I don't need to work out today, I'm going to take a break, or I've been really good, I'm going to have this, dessert. And you get these thoughts. And the thoughts are actually the body, the cells, calling for the normal feeling, which is frustrated you can't lose weight, embarrassed or ashamed, and the cycle keeps repeating itself over and over again. And so, and what's really interesting is that it's a chemical and a vibrational frequency, because the emotions can be measured in megahertz. They can be measured in energy, and so the energy that you hold every single day, that becomes that addiction and conditioning in the body that runs your life. And if you don't know that, and you go on, you're going on an exercise program, that's actually what you need to pay attention to, is those emotional conditionings. It's not just the food and the exercise, it's actually, what do I normally feel all the time? And start to pay attention to that.
This is really like next level stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, I mean, really amazing that it's almost like you're conditioning, is it like epigenetics? Like you're just sending cells, you're growing these new cells, and you're telling them who you want to be. And, who knows if that's going to transfer on to your kids and, what happens.
It does. It does. It can be ancestral. It can be ancestral. This is so crazy. And part of my book is talks about that you are the evolution of your family, because the frequency, it can be up to, your grandparents. It can be great grandparents. I think it can go back 5 generations, depending on how strong the feeling is, because feelings are energy, and energy has no boundaries, and energy moves. You feel the energy of people when they walk in the room, when you're talking with somebody. If you've ever been angry, like really angry, that's in every cell of your body, and it vibrates out. People feel that. They talk about, what is it, heart math, I believe, says that the energy of your body can go out 12 feet away from your body, so people can feel it all around you. And those feelings, they do go into the children, and even the space in your room. So what happens in the Live in a Body I Love program, I actually, it's a 90-day program, and the last month I have people come to the Big Island of Hawaii, which is where I live, and we do a retreat. And then what I love about this program is that when they go back, we still are connecting, because when you go back after coming to any retreat, your emotions, your vibration is a lot higher. You're feeling more love. You're just feeling more joy. But then you go back into your home, and your home has a vibrational frequency. And so a lot of times what happens is people will go back in their home, in their life, and I call it they bonk, because they actually get depressed, because they can't hold that new emotion, vibrational joy. It's not normal what they've been feeling, and they go back and in the same frequency in their home. So one of the things that I have them do is sage their home, change the pictures around, make sure you're around pictures that inspire you and bring you joy. Cleaning the place really helps as well. But so that vibration does affect the whole entire family. And it's like when, so-and-so's in a bad mood, don't talk to them. It affects everybody.
Right. And then in your home, there's usually a normal, right? And that's with your family or your spouse or whoever you live with. There's a normal way of being. And especially if your normal way of being around your friends, family, whoever's like right in your immediate, existence, if that's not in line with who you want to be, especially when it comes to being fit, eating healthy, and doing all the things that you train, I could see how that can really, hurt a person when they come back from something that sounds like your program.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my clients in my retreat that I did in Santa Cruz, California, I was telling them, this is a lesson I was teaching, and I was saying, you are not someone who struggles with their weight. And I had somebody get really upset. What are you talking about? I'm not somebody who struggles with my weight. I've been struggling with my weight for all my life. I said, no. I said, you are someone who has memorized and is addicted to the feelings and behaviors of someone who struggles with their weight. But that is the persona, the ego. It's like those feelings are in every cell of your body for so long that you think that vibrational frequency of struggling with your weight and feeling frustrated you can't lose weight, that's who you are. But that's not who you are. So when you realize that those feelings are not who you are, they're just addictions, chemical and vibrational addictions in the cells of your body. Now when you realize that, you can actually step outside yourself and look back and go, oh, okay, this is just a feeling. This is not who I am. This is what I'm normally used to feeling. This is what I'm addicted to. I feel that. And you can actually let it be okay that it's there. Don't make it wrong. So a lot of times people fight with themselves. It's that negative critical voice of fighting with themselves and making themselves wrong. But when they do that, that actually makes it stronger because you're fighting with yourself. But if you don't fight with yourself and you say, okay, I'm feeling frustrated, I can't lose weight. And that's okay. That's just a feeling in my body. This is chemicals in my body. I'm normally used to feeling this way. It's okay that it's here.
Mm-hmm.
And what I even have people do is go, what age is this feeling? Because it started at a certain event and time in the past. You know, I've had new clients, and I ask them what age that is, and they say, well, it's my age. And I say, yeah, but it didn't start at your age.
Right.
It didn't start at your age. So it's a younger age. So it's like looking back and feeling, okay, what age is this? And I had a client basically throw a temper tantrum on the phone with me when we started talking about her food. And she said, well, this is just the way that I eat. And I've always eaten this way. And she literally, it sounded like she just crossed her hands and stomped her feet. And I just listened and I asked her, I said, what age is that emotion? And she stopped and she just was like, and she actually totally reconnected and said, it feels like a 5-year-old. And I said, what was happening when you were 5? And she said that she was always afraid when she was eating because her parents would argue. And she was always being made wrong for what she ate and how much she ate. And so there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear.
Oh.
And so this 5-year-old emotion, which is like fear is a very strong emotion. That is actually an emotion that can definitely go down through generations because it's so strong. So she was actually living her 60-year-old life from a 5-year-old body, emotional body. And that 5-year-old was basically making the choices for her food. And so that is actually, that's one of the biggest things is ask yourself, what age is this? And then remember what was happening at that age and have compassion for yourself instead of fighting with yourself.
Unfortunately, I think it is changing, but I feel like, you know, women can definitely relate to that. There's always some connection with body image. You know, we change a lot, maybe around the 6th grade, probably more than the men do. The boys, they don't change as quickly as we do. And we get a lot of attention and there's just hormones raging. And, it, you know, it's so easy to fall into, you know, judging yourself, or are you the same size as so and such? And you can, I would bet that most women, you know, start at a young age with a lot of these, you know, these feelings, kind of like what you're talking about. So.
Absolutely. They usually start between 1 and 6. The brain is in what's called theta waves, and that is actually kind of a hypnosis time between 0 actually to 5 or 6 years old, and then the brain starts to develop more. But that age is very, very kind of a hypnotic time where you're finding out who you are, how to survive in your family, and that's actually these feelings that you become addicted to. They're survival feelings. You know, they came at a time when you were just trying to survive. You know, I've had people say, well, I don't like the part of me that created this. That part of you was a young child, or even, you know, teenage self, because things happen later in life as well that cause addictions. So it's like, look at that part of you and have compassion, because that part of you was just trying to survive the situation, and they did. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So it's like, that's the first thing I have people do is compassion's a really a very strong emotion for yourself. It's you know, we have easily to have compassion for other people, but have compassion for yourself is really, really crucial, especially with this work, if you want to live in a body you love. Because how long has it been for you struggling, yo-yoing back and forth, frustrated, embarrassed, ashamed, guilty, homeless, hopeless? You know, those feelings.
Yeah.
Those feelings are really not fun. And have compassion for yourself for experiencing this, because when you can do that and you can start to bring love and forgiveness to yourself and others, that's where we're all headed. That's actually the evolution of humanity and the next step for us. Because why are you having this experience is because we're all on a healing journey, and the next step in humanity, we haven't stopped evolving. You know, one little cell, and then the amoeba, and then the fish, you know, all of it, and goes along. But the next step of human evolution is to move us toward peace. And how do we get there is by having compassion for ourselves and the life that we have been, you know, struggling with and pushing toward, and moving us toward love and forgiveness of ourselves and others. Because when we can experience that for ourselves, that has a ripple effect around the world, and it starts to help all of us move toward love and forgiveness and live in more peace. And that's the next step I believe that's the next step of why this is happening and where we're headed.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's a big one. It's a lot more than just weight loss.
Yeah, it really is. And really, compassion is kind of the way to pierce through some of these blocks that maybe some people don't even know they have. So
exactly.
Compassion and love is what I'm hearing, and not the fear or whatever's been driving you from the past. And so it's really big picture. I'm curious for people who don't, maybe this is a new concept, all this information, because it's really amazing, fascinating. If they don't know how it connects with, okay, then how do I lose weight? Like, how do I, what do I eat? What do I do?
Yeah, I love that.
Talk about the connection, maybe.
Yeah, so one of the first things to do, again, is not make yourself wrong for these feelings. Then ask one question. What can I eat that's going to leave me feeling good in my body and about myself? And that's that one question. It's like compassion for your frustration and anger, recognizing that it came from a past event where you were just trying to survive, and then looking at what you want now. Well, one of the number one things that my clients tell me is they want peace. They want peace in their body, peace with the fight, you know, stopping the fight and the arguing inner critic of their brain. So one question is like, what can I eat that's going to leave me feeling good about myself and in my body? And it's that simple question. When you look at the food, is this going to leave me feeling good in my body and about myself? And just focusing on that one question helps. It actually, when your subconscious mind, when you ask a question, it wants to answer yourself. So why can't I lose weight? You know, it's like, and then you kind of arguing with yourself about it. But instead of that, it's just, what can I eat that's going to leave me feeling good in my body and about myself, and breathing through that. And one of the first things I have clients do is do a detox and a cleanse, because detoxing the liver and the colon, getting the gut healthy again with good probiotics, and supporting your stomach enzymes with digestive enzymes when you're eating meals. So it's like honoring your body. Your body is constantly telling you things. You know, if you're bloated and you're constipated, the body is trying to tell you, hey, you know, something's up with my gut. And, you know, your gut health is crucial for your immune system, and for so your energy and your clarity of your brain. So your body is constantly talking to you. And so when you're asking yourself, what's going to leave me feeling good in my body and about myself, that help, and just that question alone is going to help inspire different, you know, maybe you are inspired to go to a new restaurant, or try a new meal or a cookbook, and things like that. So just kindness to yourself, and asking easy questions like that really will start the journey.
Definitely. And I think when people realize, and maybe they already do, I'm sure a lot of people do, you know, if you eat one thing, your energy is going to be so at the end of that, versus if you ate something else. And that's kind of, you know, being kind to your energy in the future, or who you want to be in your mood. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. And So when we think about, reading this book and dieting hell, is there like a step-by-step plan that we get, or is it it to like dive into our own insecurities or blocks from the past?
I actually give over 20 practices that you can start doing. Okay. So it starts with the science. It starts with my story about what happened, and then it goes into the science about emotional conditioning, and that you are not talking about that you're emotionally addicted to the feeling of struggling with your weight, or whatever feeling you have. That's the emotional conditioning, and that's what feels normal. And then it goes through different practices that start to shift the frequency. It's going to feel different. Living in a body you love does not feel the same as feeling frustrated with your weight. It feels different. And actually what happens is that different feeling feels like that, it doesn't feel like that's who you are. And so a lot of times when I ask clients, what is that, how does that feel? And they don't know, that's actually green light. That's actually gold button, because that tells me we're on the right track. Because if you don't know how it's feeling or how it's going to feel for you, now you're onto something new, and now you're going to create something new for yourself. So there's different practices that actually help you to start to experience that. It also goes into nutrition. I talk about food combining and food timing, different good fat, clean protein, and unrefined carbohydrates. Talk all about that. And then I talk about getting fit for your body type, what type of body. There's, mesomorph, the 3 different types of bodies, and how to train for your body type. And I also give a beginner workout, because when I first started working out, I thought I was going to throw up and die. I was like, oh my God. And, but so I give a beginner workout. You don't want to start off fast.
Right.
So I give a beginner workout in there. And then I talk about the evolution and why this has happened to you, and why you're in the family that you're in. It's not a mistake. You were born to the family you were born to, and in the location of the earth you were born at, in the body that you're in. There's all a reason for that. And I really feel that talk about the evolution of your family. And then at the end of the book, I give an ancient Hawaiian prayer called Ho'oponopono, which is actually the ancient Hawaiians used to use this prayer to bring society back together again when somebody made a mistake or did something. And I talk about how we all are responsible for the ideology of how we see ourselves in a woman's body. It's like the magazines, the TV, the judging, and how the prayer actually allows us to take responsibility for the misalignment of who we are, and it helps us to go back, return to love, and to return to harmony of what it is that we all want, which is peace. All of us want peace for ourselves, peace for each other, peace for people around the world. And so it ends with that. But yeah, it gives over 20 different practices of how to do this work.
Amazing. It's just so all-encompassing. It feels like a great solution for a lot of people. So glad that you could speak to me about this. It's so fascinating actually speaking to you in person and not just reading the book. The book is fabulous, and I totally recommend it. I am recommending it. So if you're really ready to look great, feel great, mostly, first and foremost, and get on a new weight loss journey where it's really all encompassing, all about who you're being and stepping into a new way of being and thinking about yourself, then this is the book for you. It's for people emotionally addicted and struggling with their weight. It talks to you about how your cells sabotage your weight loss. So this is not even just your mind anymore and your habits, it's your cells, your body. And really about bringing you body peace. So it's very exciting to know this is happening.
Awesome.
Put this together.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me to share this information, because women who struggle with their weight year after year, that is hell. That's why I call it end dieting hell, because it's so frustrating. It's like, another diet, really? It's like, why isn't this working? And they keep looking outside themselves. This is why the dieting industry is a $1 trillion industry, because people want to release weight, and they do, but they don't keep it off because it's an addiction. It's an emotional addiction. And if you don't realize that, you are going to struggle, and every single year, over and over again. So end dieting hell, how to find peace in your body and release the weight. It's the next step.
Yeah, the next step and the next level of being, of being in your food and whatever you're doing. It's really amazing. And thank you again so much for talking to me about this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, Michelle.
Yes, aloha.
Yes. Bye.